At my son's graduation, I spotted my mother sitting in the last row, the same mother who had abandoned me as a child. My husband stiffened. "Do you want me to handle this?" My son asked, "Who's that?" I took a deep breath and said, "Let's find out." When I walked up to her, her eyes filled with tears. I never imagined I'd be sharing this, but here I am. My name's Sarah, a 45-year-old mother living in Chicago. Life hasn't always been kind, but I built a loving home with my husband, Mark, and our son, Jake. Jake's always been our pride and joy, smart, compassionate, and driven. His high school graduation was a milestone we'd all been looking forward to. The ceremony was at the Auditorium Theater downtown. We arrived early, taking our seats near the front. The atmosphere buzzed with excitement. As the ceremony began, I was overwhelmed with pride, watching Jake prepare to step into a new chapter. During a brief intermission, I glanced around. That's when I saw her. Sitting alone in the last row was a woman I hadn't seen in over 3 decades, my mother, Margaret. The same mother who had abandoned me when I was 10. My heart stopped, and a cold wave of shock washed over me. Mark noticed my sudden change and followed my gaze. His body tensed. Leaning in, he whispered, "Do you want me to handle this?" Before I could respond, Jake, who had been chatting with friends nearby, noticed our exchange. "Mom, Dad, is everything okay? Who's that woman you're looking at?" I took a deep breath, my mind racing. How do you explain a ghost from your past appearing at such a pivotal moment? Gathering my courage, I said, "Let's find out." With Mark and Jake by my side, I made my way to the back of the auditorium. As we approached, Margaret's eyes met mine, and they filled with tears. She stood up hesitantly, wringing her hands. "Sarah," she began, her voice trembling. I didn't mean to intrude. I just wanted to see my grandson graduate." I stood there, a whirlwind of emotions swirling inside me, anger, confusion, hurt. "You lost that right when you walked out on me," I replied, my voice colder than I intended. Jake looked between us, confusion evident on his face. "Mom, who is she?" I sighed, feeling the weight of the moment. "Jake, this is Margaret. My mother." His eyes widened in shock. "Grandma?" Margaret flinched at the term but nodded. "Yes, Jake. I'm your grandmother. I know I don't deserve to be here, but I needed to see you, to see the man you've become." Mark stepped forward, placing a protective hand on my shoulder. "Margaret, this isn't the time or place for this. You've been absent for over 30 years. Why now?" She looked down, shame coloring her features. "I know I have no excuse. I was young, selfish, and made terrible choices. But I've changed. And when I heard about Jake's graduation, I couldn't stay away." I felt a lump forming in my throat. Memories of nights spent crying myself to sleep, wondering why my mother left, came flooding back. "Changed? Do you have any idea what your absence did to me? To my life?" Tears streamed down her face. "I can only imagine, and I'm so sorry, Sarah. I don't expect forgiveness. I wanted to see you both, even if just from a distance." Jake, ever the compassionate soul, spoke up. "Mom, maybe we should hear her out. People can change." I looked at my son, seeing the kindness in his eyes, the same kindness that often led him to give second chances. Taking a deep breath, I nodded. "Fine. But not here. There's a cafe around the corner. We can talk there after the ceremony." Margaret nodded gratefully. "Thank you, Sarah. I appreciate it more than you know." The rest of the ceremony passed in a blur. My mind was elsewhere, grappling with the resurgence of emotions I thought I'd buried long ago. After Jake received his diploma and the event concluded, we made our way to the cafe. Seated in a quiet corner, the 4 of us faced each other. The tension was palpable. Margaret began. "After I left, I realized too late the gravity of my mistake. I tried to reach out, but your father made it clear I wasn't welcome. I didn't fight it, I thought you'd be better off without me. I clenched my fists under the table. You don't know that. You didn't even try. She nodded, accepting the blame. You're right. I was a coward. But I've spent the last 3 decades regretting that decision, trying to become a better person. I work with at-risk mothers now, helping them avoid the mistakes I made. Mark, who had been silent until now, asked, why show up now, unannounced? Margaret sighed. I was afraid. Afraid that if I reached out beforehand, you'd shut me out completely. I thought if I could just see Jake from a distance, it would be enough. Jake looked at me, his eyes pleading. Mom, maybe we can give her a chance. See if she's truly changed. I felt torn. The little girl inside me wanted to scream, to tell Margaret she had her chance and blew it. But the mother in me saw my son's hope and compassion. Taking a deep breath, I said, Margaret, if you're sincere about reconnecting, it won't be easy. Trust isn't given, it's earned. Are you willing to put in the effort? Margaret didn't even blink. Yes, she said quickly, too quickly. Whatever it takes. Mark didn't say anything. He just stared at her. His face was unreadable, but I knew him well enough to know he didn't trust her. Not yet. Maybe never. We sat there in silence for a moment, just the 4 of us. The sound of clinking cups and quiet cafe music filled the air, but it felt like we were in a vacuum. A bubble ready to pop. Then Jake asked the question I'd been dreading. Why did you leave? Margaret's mouth opened, but nothing came out at first. She glanced at me, maybe hoping I'd save her. I didn't. I was overwhelmed, she finally said. Your grandfather, my dad, died. Your grandmother fell apart. Your father, Sarah, he wasn't easy. He had his own demons. I felt like I was drowning. And instead of fighting for you, I ran. I leaned back, jaw tight. You didn't just run. You vanished. You didn't call. You didn't send letters. You didn't even try to fight for custody. I was 10. I thought you were dead. Her eyes welled up. I know. I was selfish. I was scared. Jake looked at me, then back at her. So, what now? That was the question, wasn't it? Before I could answer, Mark's phone buzzed. He checked the screen and frowned. I have to take this. Work. I'll be right outside. He stepped away, and Jake got up to use the restroom. Just me and Margaret now. You didn't come here just for Jake's graduation, did you? I asked. My voice was low. Steady. Cold. She hesitated. I wanted to see you, too. I narrowed my eyes. And? She sighed. I was recently diagnosed with something. It's early, but I don't know how much time I have. There it was. The twist. The motive. What is it? Stage 1 ovarian cancer. They caught it early. But I don't have family. No one. I thought maybe, I laughed, bitter and low. You thought you'd come back and I'd just fold into your arms and forget everything? You thought I'd let you be part of our lives because you might be dying? No, she whispered. But I hoped. My chest ached. This wasn't fair. None of it. She was the one who left. Now she wanted a second chance because her clock was ticking? Jake returned, and I forced a smile. Everything okay? He asked. Yeah, I said. We're just talking. Over the next few weeks, Margaret kept reaching out. Calling. Texting. Asking if she could take Jake for coffee. Asking if she could visit. I let her. At first, just small things. A coffee here. A walk in the park. I watched her every time. Studied her face, her movements. Was she really changing? Or was this another disappearing act waiting to happen? Then one afternoon, Mark came home with a look I'd never seen before. Angry. Hurt. What's wrong? I asked. He threw his keys on the table. I ran into Margaret today. Okay, she was with a man. And she didn't look sick. My stomach dropped. What? They were laughing. Holding hands. I asked her how her treatments were going. She looked confused for a second. Then caught herself. Said everything was going fine. I stared at him, trying to process. You think she lied? I don't think, he said. I know. I wanted to scream. That night, I called her. Margaret, we need to talk. She sounded cheerful. Of course. What's up? I want the truth. Are you sick or not? Silence. Margaret. Don't lie to me. More silence. Then, I had to say something. I didn't know how else to get close to you. I was shaking. So you made up cancer? I panicked. I thought if I told the truth, you'd shut me out. I hung up. I didn't know what to tell Jake. I didn't know if I could face him. He had started calling her grandma. He had let her in. What was I supposed to do now? And just when I thought it couldn't get worse, Jake found out. But not from me. He got a message from a friend who had overheard Margaret at a restaurant, laughing about how she tricked her way back into her daughter's life. Saying something about how easy guilt was to manipulate. Jake came home that night, tears in his eyes. She lied to me, he said. She lied to both of us. I nodded, my own heart cracking in two. Yeah, baby. She did. But the damage had already started. And things were about to get even more complicated. Jake didn't say much after that night. He barely spoke at dinner. Wouldn't look at me. Wouldn't look at Mark either. The betrayal hit him hard, maybe harder than it hit me. He had let his guard down. Let her in. Called her grandma. And now, she was just another liar. I thought that was the end of it. But 2 days later, Jake came into the kitchen holding his phone. Mom. We need to talk. I set down the dish I was drying. What is it? He looked uncomfortable. I did something. I went through her Facebook. Her old posts. I had to know. I braced myself. And? He handed me his phone. There, on the screen, was a photo from 6 months ago. Margaret smiling, standing beside a teenage girl in a cheer uniform. Caption, so proud of my little angel. My heart. My stomach twisted. Who is that? Jake scrolled down. More pictures. Birthday parties. School events. Family dinners. That's her other daughter, he said. Her real daughter. The one she didn't leave. I stared at the photos. A nice suburban house in Springfield, Illinois. The same woman who claimed she had no one, no family, had a whole other life. One she never mentioned. Not once. I sat down, hard. She said she had no one. Jake nodded. She lied. Again. I couldn't breathe. My hands were shaking. Mark walked in just then and saw our faces. What happened now? I showed him the phone. His face darkened. Unbelievable. All this time, she had a family. She just didn't want you to know. I felt cold. Numb. Why would she come back to me now? Mark answered before I could. Because maybe things aren't so perfect over there. Jake bit his lip. There's more. He tapped another post. A screenshot of a GoFundMe page. Margaret had created it under her other daughter's name. My mom was recently diagnosed with cancer. Please help us with her treatment costs. She had raised over $12,000. $12,000. Dollars. From strangers. From friends. From people who believed she was dying. She's scamming people, I whispered. She used a fake cancer story, not just with us. Jake looked sick. Mom, what if she came back not because she missed you, but because she needed more people to believe the lie? Mark clenched his fists. She thought she could use us. Use Jake's graduation. Use your pain. Again. I wanted to scream. Cry. Throw something. Instead, I stood up. I'm done playing nice. I texted her. We need to meet. Tomorrow. Just us. She replied in seconds. Of course. Coffee? I chose the same cafe. It felt right to go full circle. The next day, I showed up early. I was calm. Too calm. She walked in 5 minutes late, wearing a scarf, like she was trying to look frail. Like she was sick. She smiled when she saw me. Sarah, I held up my hand. Stop. I know everything. Her smile dropped. I saw the photos. I saw the fundraiser. I saw the daughter you didn't abandon. Her lips parted, but I cut her off again. Don't bother lying. I know she's real. I know you're not sick. I know you're running a scam. She swallowed. It's not what you think. Oh really? I said, leaning in. Because it looks exactly like what I think. You left me as a kid. Now you're back because you needed more people to lie to. I didn't mean to hurt you, but you did. Again. And this time, you hurt Jake too. She dropped the act. Her face hardened. Fine. I needed help. I didn't sleep that night. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw Margaret's face, smiling, lying, making excuses. Then I saw Jake, betrayed and heartbroken. This wasn't just about a bad parent showing up again. This was manipulation. It was exploitation. And she had taken my son's kindness, his heart, and stepped on it. The next morning, I made up my mind. I wasn't going to let her slide quietly back into the shadows. Not this time. I gathered everything, screenshots of her Facebook photos, her fundraiser page, the text messages. I printed them out, organized them in a folder, and waited for the school's parent-student open house that evening. Margaret had RSVP'd. She told Jake she wanted to see his world. Jake didn't want her there, but he hadn't told her not to come. I told him to trust me. When we arrived, she was already there, standing near the auditorium entrance with that scarf still wrapped around her neck like some symbol of frailty. She greeted people like nothing was wrong, like she belonged. I walked straight up to her. She smiled, but it faltered when she saw the folder in my hand. Sarah, we're doing this now, I said. Jake stood beside me, arms folded. She laughed nervously. Now? In front of everyone? You made a scene when you walked into our lives. You don't get privacy now. I opened the folder and pulled out the photos first. This is your other daughter. The one you never told me about. You said you had no one. Her mouth opened, but I didn't give her time. Here's the fundraiser. The one where you pretended to have cancer. You lied to strangers for money. You lied to us for sympathy. You told your grandson you were dying so he'd let you in. The people nearby stopped talking. A few parents had turned to listen. A teacher walked by and slowed, sensing something was happening. You didn't want to reconnect, I continued. You wanted new pawns. Because the other people in your life got tired of your lies. Margaret's face was pale now. Sarah, please. Not here. Jake stepped forward, holding his phone. She's messaging my friends. Telling them she's in trouble. Asking for help. One of them almost sent her money. Now, teachers were looking. Parents. A couple of them took out their phones. You scammed people, I said, my voice shaking. You lied to me. Again. And this time I'm not just walking away. I'm reporting the fundraiser. I'm going public. You won't do this to anyone else. You're blowing this out of proportion, she snapped. Jake flinched at her tone. That's when I saw it, the slip. The old Margaret peeking through. A woman nearby stepped forward, Jake's English teacher. Is this true? You faked cancer? Margaret looked around, realizing the crowd was forming. She tried to backpedal. It's complicated. No, I said, stepping between her and Jake. It's simple. You're a liar. And I'm done. Then Jake, quiet until now, said, You said I was your miracle. You lied to me so easily. Why? Tears filled his eyes. But Margaret didn't answer. Not a word. That silence was louder than anything she could have said. Someone from the school administration came over, asked if we needed help. I shook my head. We're leaving. Margaret reached out. Please, Jake stepped back. I took his hand, and we walked away together, leaving her standing there with everyone watching. I don't know how long she stood there, but she didn't follow us. That night, Jake cried. Not loudly. Not angrily. Just quiet tears on the couch as I held him. Mark sat nearby, arms crossed, his own anger simmering just below the surface. She didn't even want me, Jake said. She just needed me. She saw your heart and tried to take it, I said softly. But she doesn't get it. People don't exist to be used. We reported the fundraiser that night. Others must have, too, because by morning it was gone. A message replaced it, campaign removed due to policy violations. We blocked her on everything. Every number. Every account. She didn't try again. A week passed. Then two. The air started to feel lighter. Jake laughed more. Mark started sleeping through the night again. I found myself walking with less weight on my shoulders. One night, I found an old photo of me at Jake's age. I was sitting on the porch of our old house in Joliet, holding a birthday balloon. I looked so small. So hopeful. And so abandoned. But I wasn't that girl anymore. I had survived. Margaret had come back like a storm, but she left like dust. And for the first time in my life, I didn't want anything from her, not love, not closure, not even revenge. I had my family. I had the truth. And that was enough. I'm still angry. I probably always will be. But I'm not broken. I'm not her. And my son, he's stronger than she'll ever be. Sometimes the people who should protect you are the ones who hurt you most. But sometimes, surviving them is the real victory.